Next, we have Justin Snair, who's the Deputy Director of the Town of Acton Health Department in Massachusetts, presenting Can't Afford a Software Developer, Hire a Public Health Planner.
So what I'd like to relate to you is not necessarily the particulars of what I did, but why I think you could do the same thing, developing a software product to solve a public health issue. So my particular issue was inventory management. What do we have for monsters in our inventory closet? Public health emergency preparedness and response requires a lot of stuff. We have literally thousands of items used by hundreds of people located in multiple locations that need to be deployed. This stuff, the beans, the beds, the bandages, are essential to response and must be organized and tracked during storage, transport, and deployment. As public health response planners, we need this information in real time. We have to know where it is, what condition it's in, who has it. And to be effective, we need all this information in real time, like the Game of Thrones. So recognizing the need for an inventory management system, a coalition of 34 communities in Massachusetts approached me and said, Justin, can you take care of this inventory management issue? Here's $40,000. You have 4 months before the end of the grant year. The message I received was, we have a problem. We need a solution fast. I jumped at it. Very rarely do you get that sort of flexibility in government. And also, given very little direction, I saw it as an opportunity to innovate the way I wanted to. So I began by asking myself, should I buy a product off the shelf or go and develop one? I am not a software developer. I know no coding. So there are some advantages to buying off the shelf. However, most of them are really expensive and they require annual licensing that we just can't afford. So we went with a fully customized product based on our needs. So recognizing that we were going to encounter some barriers, I tend to have this mentality of over, under, or through. I tend to ignore stop signs. So when you're going to encounter stop signs in this sort of project, you're going to have human stop signs, you're going to have resource stop signs, you're going to have staff stop signs. But it's important to keep a simple plan while moving forward. And it's also really important to think that simplicity is not simple. You have to constantly evaluate your simple plan and extract what is not necessary or fundamental to your project. Also important is to keep a WWMD mentality, and that stands for what would MacGyver do? So, basically that is make what you have count. You have plenty of resources around you. They're not all funding, but you have high energy people, you have tools around you that you should focus on. Next, I had the benefit of being an end user. I am a public health planner, I have the problem. So I understood what I needed to build a system for. In other projects, you may not understand the problem in its entirety, so don't investigate what the users want constantly throughout your project. Can you have a benefit to limited resources? I think you can. It made me be more frugal in the development. It actually forced me to consider partnerships that I wouldn't have considered otherwise if I had hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it can be a benefit to have limited resources. However, when you have limited resources, it's important to not shoot for the moon when you just need to get into orbit. So you have to constantly evaluate what is essential to your product and stay on task. In public health, we often have many, many hats. So I think everyone in this crowd could actually do a project management process similar to this. You're used to having IT problems, project management problems, budgeting problems. You're used to it. And I found that when I was doing that, I could embrace my hats. Juggling competing demands, that's nothing new to everyone in this room. You're going to be constantly pulled in every direction based on your objectives, your budget, your staff, and time to complete the objective. Important to this project for me was sustainability. I'm young in the career. I may not be there in 6 months. I may not be there in a year. So I wanted to make sure that the product that I was working on was going to be sustainable, both financially and there was a continuity of administration. So we've been working on a way to make it that if I'm not there, I'm not the only one who knows how to use it. Also important was scalability. I built it for a local coalition. However, I kept in mind that there may be a nationwide application for this. So all we have to do is just turn up the bandwidth and it can be applied to any number of states throughout the nation for low cost. So, and also you have to keep in mind that milk will spill. Issues will come up. I can't anticipate every single thing I'm going to need for a product. So understanding that, I tried to accept that there was a mistake, move on, avoid doing it again, and just keep on plugging forward. Also recognize that you will never be done beta testing. Every time I brought someone in, they have found a bug that I missed after spending countless hours trying to find it. Understand that, accept it, and just keep moving on. Embracing feedback through the beta test. You will constantly hear comments about what you should have done better or what they actually could suggest for improvements. Accept it. It's actually, once I launched this into a beta test and a pilot within another region, I had more suggestions come in that were better than I had come up with. So the takeaway message here is be available, be resourceful, and be innovative. Sometimes when you don't have the necessary resources, you can really get creative and you can find ways of doing things in a different way for old tasks. Thank you.